What if you lost your job, but you still had to go to work every day? And what if that work included having to talk to people for hours, for days, for weeks, and you had to talk about stuff that wasn't really happening at all? Would you just start yelling louder?
I said a bunch of things.
Or maybe you talk about things you'd never talked about before. Or perhaps, just maybe, you do exactly the same thing you were doing the entire time. But perhaps this latest round of absurdity has started to ask a question that should have been asked a long time ago. What exactly are these people actually doing? In fact, one could argue they never really had a job at all. Just imagine with me for a moment. You wake up, you head to your guest's bedroom where you log into Skype, and desperately try to find NFL offseason trades that may make people interested in what you have to say. And if there are no offseason moves, perhaps you talk about NBA All-Stars, doing things also not related to playing basketball. And if that doesn't work, well maybe, just maybe, you talk about Major League Baseball. Okay, no one's actually doing that, but the point stands. Seeing the lengths these guys go to lately to try and make something out of nothing has gotten me thinking, what happened to sports analysts? There was probably a time when being an analyst actually meant that you analyzed things with some nuance that could give your viewers a way of thinking about things they hadn't thought about before. But those days really seem like they're behind us. In fact, nowadays it just seems like whoever can do the most ridiculous stunt to get attention, well, that guy's an analyst now. And you might be asking yourself, why did this happen? Why are all of the people that talk the loudest the ones that have nothing to say? And the reason is actually because they have to. You might find this hard to believe, but people aren't exactly too interested in skill interactive earned run average, otherwise known as Sierra, or on base plus slugging plus percentage. And that's not just because those stats are both about baseball, although that does play a role. No, there's no room for that. Instead, we've got to talk about the same types of topics. Is your favorite player very good, or are they actually great?
LeBron James would come in second to Giannis at best.
Fascinating. You might be thinking, Doug, you're wrong. That's just not true. People do want nuance. They want complexity. And if there were shows that were based around those things, they would definitely succeed. Or they wouldn't.
The audacity.
That's why we're left with these guys, always searching for that next scorching hot take, endlessly contradicting themselves if it means just one day of good viewership. But let's get back to what's happening today. You might have noticed there are no sports going on, and so you might think that that means that there are no sports that need to be analyzed. But that, my friends, is where you'd be wrong. ESPN and Fox Sports and everyone else are still feeding us the exact same content. In fact, in some instances, they're feeding us more of that content. And it's not just the big guys doing this lately. I mean, look at this article from Barstool Sports. Wait, hold on. This article is from 2018. But let's take a look at what some of the biggest names are doing lately. And you can't start that list without Stephen A. If you're not familiar with Stephen A, you probably need to lay off the weed.
Stay off the weed.
Stephen A was born in New York and got his first gig working in print media. He worked for several different publications, eventually working his way up to the Philadelphia Inquirer. He got his first break in 2005, moving over to radio, where he worked for WEPN in New York City. Since then, he's moved up higher and higher on the ESPN ladder. And ESPN loves him a lot. But anyway, let's head over to First Take to see what Stephen A's been talking about lately.
That's it. Forget right now then. He's the best player in the world. Without the right now.
Oh, we're going to talk about if LeBron James is the best basketball player or not. That's a really unique and refreshing conversation. It's like a breath of fresh garbage.
Offensively, he's been showing up, but does he make others around him better the way LeBron does? I don't think that argument can be made about that. And those are all the things that to take into consideration.
Not to the extent that LeBron does, but I'm not arguing Kawhi Leonard is the most valuable athlete in sports. I'm pointing out in order to be called that on the field.
My favorite part of this video is how confused the people in the comments are. They've made this video a million times. They should be quarantining. When I saw this title, my first thought was, here we go again. This is a replay, right? Because I think I've heard everything they've said about 300 times before. That's right, Stephen A. The audience is tired of you talking about the same topic over and over again. That's why they're hitting you with 427,000 views and a 95% upvote ratio. Bet you'll think twice before you talk about this again next time, won't you? But if you haven't been watching First Take lately, let me break down an episode for you in 20 seconds. 10 minutes on no Olympics in Tokyo this year. 10 minutes on no Tom Brady with the Patriots this year. 10 minutes on Cam Newton not playing for the Panthers anymore.
I don't even understand why this is breaking news.
10 minutes on whether Mahomes is the greatest that was actually talking about LeBron James. 10 minutes on NFL offseason moves. And we're still not even halfway through the show. Yes, it does seem this lack of sports is taking its toll. In fact, Stephen A. tweeted this out the other day.
I've never in my life awakened and didn't have one single sporting event to look at. Ever. It's never happened. It's never happened. It's downright depressing.
What a hurtful comment. Not a single sporting event. WWE WrestleMania 36 just taped. Oh, and now fake wrestling's not a sport? I mean, I'd agree with you, but you might want to have a word with ESPN. I'm starting to also think that maybe Stephen A. is getting a little bit bored.
When you out, practice social distancing. Wash your damn hands. Don't be nasty. How about that? Okay? Wash your damn hands. Try not to go near people. Try not to touch people. That should be hard to do.
So yeah, that happened. Let's move on to our next daytime sports talk show expert and talk about Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless was born in Oklahoma City and, much like Stephen A., got his start in print media. From 1976 to 2000, Skip Bayless had worked for many different famous publications, including the Los Angeles Times and the Chicago Tribune. In the early 90s, Skip Bayless moved into radio and television, and one thing led to another until he ended up at the start of the show First Take. First Take was originally called Cold Pizza, but they decided to change the name. I can't imagine why. Skip's had more than his fair share of moments in the spotlight, but there's one argument he just can't seem to live down.
Aaron Rodgers is historically, transcendentally, specially great. No, you know why? Because Aaron Rodgers is hot and Aaron Rodgers is cold. Are you kidding me? He is not consistently historically great, transcendentally great. He's above anybody who's playing this game on a human level right now. He's also the most overhyped quarterback in the history of pro football. That is the most laughable statement you have ever made in the history of this show. Okay? So it's Aaron bleeping Rodgers. He's Errant Rodgers, E-R-R-A-N-T Rodgers. Here's what you won't have an answer for. The play of the game and the play of the year and the play of this century. That was special. There was nothing special about this play.
The best part of this is that he uses the phrase transcendentally great for both arguing for and against Aaron Rodgers. And then, of course, there's the classic Skip Bayless, Mark Cuban argument.
You don't ever use facts. You don't ever use substance. You don't ever
use facts.
No.
That's all I use on this show.
What, excruciating pressure, undeniable this, it's just all generalities.
There's never been a star under more pressure going into a finals, a championship series or game than LeBron James was under after 9 years and 3 league MVPs.
Well, first of all, you have the presumption that people care what you say.
But the past is the past. What's Skip up to nowadays with no new sports happening? Let's take a look.
LeBron's first ring is a little tainted because they didn't play the first game that year in 2012 until Christmas Day. So that was only a 66-game season.
Oh, great. More LeBron James. Just what I was hoping for. Let's get into a conversation on LeBron James. Will he win the title? Will he be MVP? Just going through their channel on YouTube. LeBron, Tom Brady, Dak Prescott, Cam Newton. LeBron, Tom Brady, Cam Newton, Dak Prescott. Bill Belichick, Dak Prescott, LeBron, Tom Brady, Tom Brady, Dak Prescott, DeAndre Hopkins, Tom Brady, LeBron James, Dak Prescott, LeBron James, Tom fucking Brady. Here's a sneak peek of my new home studio as we expand Undisputed to 2 hours. They're expanding the show to 2 hours. Why? What has happened? What is possibly going on where this show needs to be longer? Is it the fact that there is now less to compete with? Oh, there is less to compete with. Okay. The kinds of questions that are on everybody's mind. Skip will also finally have time to say things like, if LeBron wins this year's NBA championship, it deserves an asterisk.
You know what? If LeBron James does win a championship this year, which would be his 4th, it's going to feel like it was tainted, like it will deserve an asterisk because obviously the season has been shortened.
I've only been watching and reading about Skip Bayless for about an hour now, and I have to say, this guy seems like he really has a thing for LeBron.
LeBron James, LeBron James, LeBron James.
We're running a little low on time, but there's one more person I want to take a look at, and that person is Colin Cowherd. Colin Cowherd was born in Seattle, and he got his start as the play-by-play announcer for the AAA affiliate Las Vegas Stars of the San Diego Padres. He then moved over to ESPN Radio, where he took the late morning spot from Tony Kornheiser. Oh yeah, Tony Kornheiser. I wonder what he's been up to lately. Yeah. I don't need a crystal ball to know it's going to be a rough news cycle. Colin moved up the ranks at ESPN before landing a deal with Fox Sports, but before he moved over, he was actually fired by ESPN for some comments that were completely unacceptable.
All great comedy comes from the cringe. Amy Schumer, Louis C.K., Chris Rock, George Carlin, Eddie Murphy. The cringe often makes the comedy.
To my knowledge, he has yet to apologize for including Amy Schumer on that list, but that's also not why he got fired.
Put a general manager in their dugout. People freaked out. You know, like, whoa, it's baseball. You don't think a general manager can manage? Like, it's impossible? The game is too complex? Like, I've never bought into that baseball's just too complex. Really? A third of the sport is from the Dominican Republic. The Dominican Republic has not been known in my lifetime as having, world-class academic abilities. I mean, a lot of those kids come from rough backgrounds and have not had opportunities academically that other kids from other countries have. Baseball's like any sport. It's mostly instincts.
Sounds bad at first glance, but Colin had a reason why he said it. It's actually pretty simple.
For the record, I use the Dominican Republic because they furnish baseball with so many great players. But they do rank 122nd out of 144 countries in primary education, according to the World Economic Forum Global Competitive Report. Nobody says everybody's anything. And I understand when you mention a specific country, they get offended. I get it. I do. And for that, I feel bad. I do. But I have 4 reports in front of me. World Bank, OECD, where there are discussions of major deficiencies in the education sector at all levels.
The problem with this idea is there's not really a direct correlation between how advanced a country is and how complicated their sports are. Here we can see a 2014 map of what every country's favorite sport is. You can see that some of the most intelligent countries in the world enjoy very simple sports like soccer or ice hockey. And you can also see that some of the least educated countries in the world also enjoy those same sports. But can we just stop for a moment and look at this? China's favorite sport is table tennis. In America, I don't even think we consider that a sport. The reality is you don't need a very sophisticated mind to understand baseball, but the reason is because 3/3 of the sport are baseball players. We got a little off track there. What has Colin been doing now with the total lack of sports happening? Let's take a look.
We're going to talk about LeBron and the Lakers. The last image, the last 10 minutes of the movie are going to be so unbelievable. You are going to go, wow, LeBron, third team. Wasn't that the year? Yeah. But God, that's better than Jordan.
LeBron James. How interesting. What a unique topic to talk about. Maybe a little Tom Brady, perhaps, or we'll spice it up with a little bit of Patrick Mahomes. I just can't do it anymore. Why does every single person want to talk about LeBron James? How great he is. Is he better than Michael Jordan? Is he the best that's ever lived? It's a conversation that's happened a million times. Nobody is interested at all anymore. I frequently hear analysts talking about number of rings like that's all that matters. And you can't just do that. Yes, Jordan has 6 rings and LeBron only has 3. Maybe he'll get a couple more before he's done. Maybe he won't. But it's not just rings that define the player. There's always going to be some getting lucky along the way. I can't just say, look, this guy won X number of Super Bowls, that guy won less. Then this guy's better than that guy. It just doesn't work that way. If it did, Terry Bradshaw would finish as tied for second best NFL quarterback ever. And he only threw for 2 touchdowns more than interceptions over his entire career. So you can't look at it like that. You gotta look at the whole body of work. And I think when you look at that, you can make a very strong case for LeBron. Here we have the lifetime stats for LeBron James and Michael Jordan. There's a lot to take in here, but first we have to consider some context. Michael Jordan came into the league notably later than LeBron LeBron because he, of course, played college basketball at Chapel Hill. You also have to remember that there was 2 periods of time where Michael Jordan was not playing professional basketball. One where he decided he was done being a professional athlete, and another where he retired. So if we look at this, we can see that there's a few different aspects to each of their games. Michael Jordan averaged a few more points a game than LeBron did, but LeBron had him beat in both assists and rebounds. Michael Jordan had the edge in steals, but blocks was pretty even. As far as turnovers go, LeBron's a little more careless with the ball, but Michael Jordan committed more fouls, which will essentially work out the sum amount of turnovers as well. So if we kind of look at that, we can see they're pretty equal in that regard, but we have to think about their total body of work. Wait, hold on. What just happened? I guess I'm ready to work at ESPN now, but I'm gonna have to do more yelling. Back to Colin. Let's see what he's up to. Oh no, this is gonna be a poker analogy. I'm bracing myself.
But suddenly all the offers dried up. It was a fun game of poker, but there is no royal flush. There is no straight. It's a 7-2 offsuit. There's nothing there.
Colin also tweeted the other day, "Can't believe how many great NFL topics we have today. Seriously." I hate to break it to you, Colin, but you're not the only one that can't believe it. Look, here's the moral of the story. This kind of thing that they do would only work on daytime TV. On the internet, here on YouTube, people are only interested in high-level social commentary and thoughtful introspection onto real subjects that matter. Maybe actually we could take a page or two out of this playbook.
Stephen A. Smith is the best analyst in the world, and it's not even close.
Excuse me? But there's a man named Skip Bayless. He'd like to have a word with you.
Oh, the Skip Bayless that scored less than 2 points per game in JV?
No, that's not.
That's Skip Bayless?
That is not true. Skip Bayless is the primetime sports analyst host. No doubt about it.
I cannot believe what I'm hearing right now.
Period. Full stop. Book has been written. You know who wrote the book? Skip Bayless.
Lay off the weed, Doug. Lay off the weed.
Oh, you think Stephen A. Smith has anything on Skip Bayless? You think Stephen A's got him? No. That must be your first take, because it's definitely not going to be your last one. Thank you guys for joining me today. If you like this video, hit the subscribe button, hit that thumbs up button. I think I might do some more videos kind of like this, like making fun of some topics that are happening in the world and maybe a little less news. I might go that direction for a bit. We'll see what happens. Anyway, thank you once again for watching, and hit that subscribe button. Peace.